Welcome to Warriors of the World. Today we'll be exploring the Fedayeen, diverse groups of militants throughout history who shared a commitment to sacrifice for their cause. Subscribe now to join our community and support this project. Now, let's begin. The term Fedayeen derives from the Arabic word Fedayeen, meaning one who sacrifices himself. This concept has manifested across different cultures and historical periods, creating distinct warrior groups united by their willingness to risk everything for their cause. Throughout history, various movements have adopted this title, each interpreting the concept of sacrifice through their unique cultural and political lens, creating a complex tapestry of militant traditions that spans nearly a millennium. The earliest historical Fedayeen emerged from the medieval Nizari Ismaili movement, often called the Assassins, during the 11th and 12th centuries. Led by Hassan I Sabah from their fortress at Alamut in Persia, these warriors developed a reputation that would echo through centuries. Unlike common portrayals in Western literature, they were highly educated religious scholars who underwent rigorous training in theology, philosophy, and the art of strategic elimination. Their educational system rivaled the best madrasas of their time, producing not just warriors but scholars who contributed to Islamic philosophy and science. The term was revived in modern times, first appearing in Egypt's struggle against British occupation in the 1950s. These resistance fighters conducted guerrilla operations against colonial forces, establishing a model that would influence future movements across the Middle East. Their tactics combined traditional warfare with innovative guerrilla strategies adapted to urban environments. Operating from the Sinai Peninsula and Nile Delta, they developed hit-and-run tactics that frustrated British military superiority and inspired similar movements throughout the colonized world. By the 1960s, Palestinian groups adopted the term, creating armed units that became central to their national struggle. These Fedayeen operated from bases in Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, conducting cross-border raids that significantly impacted Middle Eastern politics and drew international attention to their cause. Their emergence marked a new phase in the Arab-Israeli conflict, transforming refugee populations into organized military forces. The establishment of training camps in refugee settlements created a new model of resistance that combined military training with social services and education. The concept continued to evolve with the Iranian Fedayeen movements in the 20th century, demonstrating how different political ideologies could adopt and adapt the Fedayeen tradition. Each incarnation reflected the specific historical circumstances of its time, while maintaining the core principle of self-sacrifice for a greater cause. This adaptability across different political contexts, from religious to secular, from anti-colonial to revolutionary, demonstrates the enduring power of the Fedayeen concept. The original Fedayeen were the devoted followers of the Nizari Ismaili sect, a branch of Shia Islam that emphasized esoteric interpretation of religious texts and personal devotion to their spiritual leader. From their mountain fortresses scattered across Persia and Syria, they developed a sophisticated network of operatives that extended throughout the Islamic world. Their targets included Seljuk rulers, Crusader leaders, and rival Muslim officials who threatened their community's survival. The strategic selection of targets demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of power dynamics in the medieval Islamic world. Training for these medieval Fedayeen was extensive and selective, often beginning in childhood and lasting several years. Recruits studied theology, philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, and multiple languages alongside combat skills. They mastered the arts of disguise, infiltration, poison-making, and close-quarter combat techniques. The famous dagger became their symbol, representing precision rather than brute force. Unlike conventional armies, they emphasized quality over quantity, with each operative capable of operating independently for extended periods. Their training facilities included specialized rooms for practicing stealth, libraries for scholarly pursuits, and laboratories for developing poisons and medicines. These medieval Fedayeen created an intelligence network spanning from Persia to Syria that rivaled modern spy agencies. They placed agents in royal courts, merchant caravans, religious institutions, and urban guilds, gathering information that enabled precisely planned operations. Their psychological impact far exceeded their numbers, creating fear among rulers throughout the region. Chronicles from the period describe how the mere rumor of assassin presence could paralyze courts and armies. They developed sophisticated codes and communication methods, including carrier pigeons and secret writing techniques. The assassins' fortresses served multiple purposes beyond military strongholds. They functioned as training centers, libraries, astronomical observatories, and centers of learning. The The fortress of Alamut housed one of the most extensive libraries in the Islamic world, containing texts on science, philosophy, and theology from various traditions, including Greek, Persian, and Indian works. Their scholars made significant contributions to astronomy, mathematics, and chemistry, with some of their astronomical tables being used for centuries after their political power waned. Their methods were remarkably sophisticated for the medieval period. They employed psychological warfare, using fear and uncertainty as weapons. Their operatives often spent years establishing cover identities before striking, sometimes rising to positions of trust within their target's household. This patience and long-term planning set them apart from conventional military forces of their era. They developed elaborate rituals and ceremonies that strengthened group cohesion and commitment, creating a unique warrior culture that blended mysticism with practical military skills. The modern incarnation of Fedayeen emerged in the 1950s among Palestinian refugees displaced by the 1948 Arab-Israeli conflict. These fighters organized to continue their struggle for homeland return, initially operating as small, loosely connected groups conducting infiltration operations from refugee camps in Gaza and the West Bank. The transformation from refugees to resistance fighters represented a significant psychological shift, as displaced populations took agency over their political destiny. By the early 1960s, the Palestinian Fedayeen evolved into more structured organizations with clear hierarchies and command structures. Groups like Fatah, founded by Yasser Arafat, and the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine established training camps and command structures. They recruited thousands of fighters from refugee populations, offering not just military training but also education, healthcare, and social services to their communities. This comprehensive approach created a parallel society within refugee camps, with the Fedayeen providing everything from schools to medical clinics. Training camps proliferated in Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, teaching guerrilla warfare, explosives handling, weapons maintenance, intelligence gathering, and political ideology. The curriculum combined practical military skills with ideological education, creating fighters who understood both the tactical and strategic dimensions of their struggle. Many camps also provided basic education to refugee children, integrating military and civilian functions. Advanced training included urban warfare techniques, sabotage operations, and international law regarding armed conflict. The Fedayeen developed hit-and-run tactics suited to their asymmetric warfare situation. Their operations ranged from small-scale border raids to larger coordinated attacks on military installations. They innovated in areas like urban guerrilla warfare, developing techniques that would influence insurgent movements worldwide. The use of media to amplify their message became a crucial component of their strategy. They established their own radio stations, newspapers, and later television productions to communicate their narrative to both Arab and international audiences. The 1968 Battle of Karameh marked a turning point in Fedayeen history. When Israeli forces launched a major operation against Fedayeen bases in Jordan with tanks and air support, Palestinian fighters, supported by Jordanian artillery, fought them to a standstill. Though tactically inconclusive, the battle became a strategic victory for the Fedayeen, demonstrating their ability to confront conventional military forces. Recruitment surged following this engagement, with thousands of young Arabs joining their ranks. The battle's psychological impact resonated throughout the Arab world, transforming the image of Palestinians from victims to active resistance fighters. The Fedayeen's international operations expanded their influence beyond the Middle East. They established training relationships with other liberation movements, hosted international volunteers, and developed a sophisticated diplomatic apparatus that gained them recognition in various international forums. This internationalization of their struggle marked a new phase in their development, transforming them from a regional guerrilla force to a global political movement. Iran produced two significant Fedayeen organizations that shaped the country's modern history. The Fedayeen-e-Islam, founded in 1946 by Nawab Safavi, combined religious fundamentalism with political activism. They viewed themselves as guardians of Islamic values against Western influence and secular modernization. Their operations targeted political figures they deemed corrupt or anti-Islamic, including Prime Minister Razmara, whose elimination in 1951 contributed to the oil nationalization crisis. The organization developed a sophisticated theological justification for political violence, drawing on both Shia traditions and modern revolutionary theory. The Fedayeen-e-Khalq emerged in 1965 as a unique fusion of Marxist and Islamic ideologies. Founded by university students, including Masoud Rajavi, they opposed the Shah's regime through urban guerrilla warfare. Their ideology attempted to reconcile socialist principles with Islamic teachings, creating a revolutionary synthesis that appealed to both religious and secular opponents of the monarchy. They published theoretical works explaining their ideological fusion, attracting intellectuals and students who sought alternatives to both traditional Islam and Western Marxism. Both groups underwent rigorous ideological and military training that could last months or even years. The Fedayeen created an elaborate underground network, with safe houses, weapons caches, and communication systems spanning major Iranian cities. They recruited from universities, factories, bazaars, and religious seminaries, building a diverse membership base that crossed class lines. Their operations included bank robberies for funding, targeted actions against SAVAK, secret police agents, bombings of government facilities, and propaganda distribution through underground publications. Training programs emphasized both practical skills and ideological commitment. Members learned surveillance detection, weapons handling, explosives manufacturing, document forgery, and secure communication methods. Ideological sessions explored their unique interpretation of Islam and Marxism, creating a distinct revolutionary identity. The organization's cellular structure protected against infiltration, with members knowing only their immediate contacts. They developed elaborate security protocols, including emergency escape routes, coded communication systems, and procedures for detecting and eliminating informants. These organizations significantly influenced Iranian politics throughout the 1970s, contributing to the revolutionary atmosphere that culminated in the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Though ultimately marginalized by clerical forces, their impact on Iranian political culture remained significant. Many of their members later played important roles in post-revolutionary Iran, either in government positions or in opposition movements. Their theoretical contributions continue to influence Islamic political thought and revolutionary movements throughout the Muslim world. Saddam Hussein's Fedayeen represented a dramatic departure from earlier Fedayeen traditions. Established in 1995 under the command of Saddam's eldest son Uday, this paramilitary force served as the regime's most fanatically loyal defenders. Unlike previous Fedayeen groups that emerged from popular movements, these were a state-created force designed to protect the Ba'athist regime. The organization reflected the paranoid nature of Saddam's rule, creating multiple overlapping security forces to prevent coups and maintain control. The force numbered approximately 30,000 to 40,000 fighters, recruited primarily from tribes and regions with strong loyalty to Saddam. Selection criteria emphasized political reliability over military competence. Many members came from Saddam's hometown of Tikrit and surrounding areas, ensuring personal loyalty through tribal and regional connections. Recruitment often targeted young men from impoverished backgrounds, offering them status, uniforms, and regular pay in exchange for absolute loyalty. Training for Fedayeen Saddam differed markedly from other Fedayeen groups. While they received instruction in unconventional warfare, sabotage, assassination techniques, and internal security operations, ideological indoctrination focused on personal loyalty to Saddam rather than broader political principles. Their equipment included light weapons, RPGs, anti-tank missiles, modified civilian vehicles for mobility, and even some chemical protection gear. Training camps were established throughout Iraq, with specialized facilities for different types of operations. The organization developed a reputation for brutality in suppressing internal dissent. Operating outside regular military command structures, they answered directly to the presidential palace through Uday Hussein. This independence from military oversight allowed them to conduct operations that regular forces might refuse, including reprisals against civilian populations, torture of political prisoners, and execution of deserters. They maintained networks of informants throughout Iraqi society, creating an atmosphere of fear and suspicion. During the 2003 invasion of Iraq, Fedayeen Saddam conducted irregular warfare operations against coalition forces. Using civilian clothes and vehicles, they launched surprise attacks on supply convoys and isolated units. Their tactics included suicide attacks, ambushes, and the use of human shields. Though militarily ineffective against conventional forces, they created significant complications for coalition planning and contributed to the unexpected resistance encountered in southern Iraqi cities. Their resistance continued after the fall of Baghdad, with many members joining the subsequent insurgency. The dissolution of the organization scattered thousands of trained fighters into the population, contributing to the security challenges that followed regime change. Many Fedayeen Saddam members formed the core of early insurgent groups, bringing their training and weapons to the anti-occupation resistance. Their knowledge of weapons caches and safe houses proved valuable to the emerging insurgency. Across different incarnations, Fedayeen groups shared certain tactical and organizational characteristics that made them effective despite facing numerically and technologically superior opponents. They emphasized surprise, mobility, and psychological impact over conventional military strength. Their operations often targeted symbolic objectives to maximize political effect rather than purely military advantage. This focus on psychological warfare distinguished them from conventional military forces. Cell structures provided security against infiltration and intelligence gathering. Each unit operated semi-independently, with minimal knowledge of other cells' activities or membership. This compartmentalization protected the organization even when individual members were captured or compromised. Communication between cells typically occurred through cutouts and dead drops, minimizing direct contact. Some groups developed sophisticated courier networks using seemingly innocent civilians to pass messages. Training varied by group but typically included several core components. Weapons handling and maintenance formed the foundation, with emphasis on small arms, explosives, and improvised devices. Intelligence gathering techniques taught operatives to observe, record, and report information without detection. Escape and evasion training prepared members for operating in hostile territory. Ideological education reinforced commitment and provided justification for their actions. Advanced training might include languages, forgery, surveillance techniques, and interrogation resistance. Operational security measures were sophisticated for their time. Members used code names, maintained cover identities, and followed strict protocols for meetings and communications. Safe houses were compartmentalized, with different locations for meetings, storage, and refuge. Counter-surveillance techniques helped identify and evade security force attention. Some groups developed their own encryption methods and secure communication channels long before such technology became widely available. Communication methods evolved from medieval messenger systems to modern encrypted channels. Fedayeen groups consistently demonstrated adaptability in adopting new technologies for their operations. The Palestinian Fedayeen pioneered the use of media for propaganda purposes, while Iranian groups developed sophisticated underground publishing networks. Modern groups utilized early internet technologies, encrypted communications, and social media for recruitment and propaganda. Financing mechanisms varied but often included criminal activities like robbery and extortion, donations from sympathizers, state support where available, and legitimate business fronts. Money laundering through legitimate businesses provided cover for financial transactions. Resource management emphasized efficiency, with limited funds carefully allocated to maximize operational impact. Some groups developed international fundraising networks, tapping into diaspora communities and sympathetic organizations. The Fedayeen concept has profoundly influenced asymmetric warfare doctrine worldwide. Their methods of organization, training, and operations have been studied and adapted by various movements across different continents and conflicts. Military academies and counterterrorism units analyze Fedayeen tactics to understand irregular warfare dynamics. Their influence extends beyond military strategy to political organization and revolutionary theory. The medieval assassins demonstrated how a small, dedicated force could impact regional politics through targeted operations. Their combination of religious devotion and military precision created a model for future ideologically motivated groups. Modern special operations forces study their infiltration techniques and psychological warfare methods. Their emphasis on intelligence gathering and patient preparation influenced covert operations doctrine globally. Palestinian Fedayeen transformed from refugees into a military force that shaped Middle Eastern politics for decades. Their struggle brought international attention to the Palestinian cause and influenced liberation movements globally. The concept of armed struggle as a path to national liberation gained credibility through their example. Their organizational model, combining military action with social services, has been replicated by numerous movements worldwide. Iranian Fedayeen groups showed how revolutionary organizations could combine different ideologies to challenge established power structures. Their urban guerrilla tactics became textbook examples for similar movements. The fusion of religious and secular ideologies influenced subsequent Islamic revolutionary movements. Their theoretical writings on revolution and resistance continue to be studied in academic and militant circles. Fedayeen Saddam illustrated how authoritarian regimes could adapt the concept for state purposes, creating loyal paramilitary forces outside traditional military structures. This model has been replicated by other regimes seeking to establish parallel security forces. The use of irregular forces for regime protection has become a common feature in many authoritarian states. Modern counterterrorism and counterinsurgency doctrines have evolved partly in response to Fedayeen tactics. Understanding these groups remains crucial for analyzing contemporary asymmetric conflicts. Intelligence agencies study their organizational structures to develop effective countermeasures. Military strategists analyze their successes and failures to inform current operations. The term Fedayeen continues to resonate in political discourse, representing both the power and controversy of committed militant action. Their legacy demonstrates how dedication and organization can enable smaller forces to challenge more powerful opponents. The ethical debates surrounding their methods continue to influence discussions about legitimate resistance and terrorism. Academic research on Fedayeen movements contributes to broader understanding of irregular warfare, revolutionary movements, and political violence. Their impact extends beyond military history into sociology, political science, and religious studies. Universities worldwide offer courses examining their historical significance and contemporary relevance. The evolution of Fedayeen groups reflects changing patterns in global conflict, from medieval religious wars through anti-colonial struggles to contemporary asymmetric warfare. Their adaptability across different historical periods and cultural contexts demonstrates the enduring appeal of sacrificial warrior traditions. The concept continues to inspire both admiration and concern among observers of global politics. As we examine these diverse groups united by the concept of sacrifice, we gain insights into the complex relationship between ideology, violence, and political change. The Fedayeen phenomenon challenges us to consider the motivations that drive individuals to extreme commitment and the consequences of such dedication for societies and global politics. The study of Fedayeen movements provides valuable lessons for understanding current conflicts and anticipating future challenges in international security. Their legacy continues to shape debates about the nature of warfare, the ethics of resistance, and the role of ideology in political violence. Subscribe now, become a member, turn on notifications, share this video with your friends, and leave a comment so we can compare our knowledge and sources. Thank you for following our channel. Until our next strategic journey, here at Warriors of the World.